Welcome to Redtastic. Story 1. I'm Lisa, 36 female, and I'm happily married to Luke, 40 male, with 2 adorable kids, James 4 male and Elliot 7 male. Here's some background. My mother and Donna's father tied the knot when Donna and I were practically adults. Donna, 29 female, was 18 in college, while I, at 25, had already settled into a corporate job, had an apartment, and was in a relationship with my now husband, Luke. I wasn't particularly close to Donna. It somehow felt like we were strangers forced to act nice to each other. A year later, Donna got pregnant. She tried to keep it under wraps, but the signs were unmistakable, and a growing baby bump was quite telling. I was furious because I knew she wasn't in a position to care for a child, especially with a boyfriend who always seemed to be on the lookout for things to steal, smoke, and drink. Despite my concerns, Donna was over the moon with excitement. She couldn't stop talking about starting a YouTube channel and vlogging her journey as a new, young mom. She was so convinced her boyfriend would pop the question and marry her, but that didn't happen. Despite our parents and me trying to give Donna's boyfriend the benefit of the doubt, hoping to see what Donna saw in him, he took off immediately after Donna gave birth to Elliot. Our family, and particularly myself, was actively engaged in raising Donna's son, Elliot. However, everyone was contributing except for Donna, who got tired of motherhood after 7 months. One day when Elliot was 2, I walked in on Donna watching a movie, while Elliot was practically wailing with full diapers and food scattered everywhere. I couldn't contain my frustration and raised my voice at Donna, perhaps going a bit too far when I told her to get her act together since she brought this upon herself. A month later, I was at my house when Donna dropped by with Elliot, something she did every weekend. She asked me to look after him while she went to get some groceries. After a few hours, I received a text from her, shocking me with the message that she didn't want Elliot anymore and deemed him better off with me since I was Mrs. Perfect. I was beyond livid. Despite attempting to reach out, she cut off all communication and completely disappeared. During that period, I had to quit my job and find a remote position to be able to take care of Elliot. As I had grown attached to him, Luke was understanding of the situation and offered to babysit Elliot on days when I had a heavy workload. Things were more settled after a year. I established a routine that worked, learned how to manage my time with the toddler, and got married to Luke. The day Elliot called Luke Dada is probably one of the best days of Luke's life to date. My family expanded when I gave birth to James 2 years later. Elliot was thrilled to have a baby brother, and it warmed my heart to see him so happy. Eventually, Luke and I legally adopted Elliot to make his big brother role official. However, one morning, Donna called me out of the blue. She sounded distressed, explaining that she needed a place to stay temporarily until she could sort herself out, because her boyfriend had kicked her out of his house. I was taken aback, finding it hard to believe the audacity of her request, after she vanished from our lives for 5 years. But despite my reservations, I let Donna move in. After all, she was my sister. Although James and Elliot warmed up to Donna quickly, having Donna around felt a bit strange in the beginning. She initially praised me for how well I had raised Elliot, expressing gratitude for taking care of him on her behalf. While I wanted to clarify that I wasn't doing it for her, but for Elliot's well-being, I decided against it. As the weeks passed, there was a noticeable shift in Donna's behavior. Donna began making remarks about her role as Elliot's mother, emphasizing her connection with him. For instance, she would say things like, "I always knew Elliot would have my bright eyes," or, "He really takes after me, doesn't he?" I thought it was cute at first, but soon it escalated to the point where she started offering parenting advice that seemed more about asserting her influence than genuinely helping. One day, she even referred to us as co-mothers. According to her, I had James and she had Elliot. My irritation was growing, but I tried my best to conceal it, thinking I might be overly paranoid. Donna's comments continued to worsen, and a subtle interference in my decisions became more pronounced. If I told Elliot he couldn't have a second piece of cake, she would jump in with, "Oh, come on, he can have a little more, it won't hurt." If I set a specific bedtime for Elliot and James, she would chime in with comments like, "You're being too strict with Elliot." If I scolded Elliot for not doing his homework or chores, she would rush to his side and comfort him, dismissing my disciplinary actions. Donna consistently praised Elliot's behavior, subtly implying that she considered him to be the more well-behaved and favored child. I noticed Donna's actions were affecting James, who started to feel excluded and jealous. Donna showered Elliot with gifts and attention, leaving James on the sidelines and turning our home into an uncomfortable competition between the two boys. When I addressed this issue with her, she managed to deflect the conversation, making me feel like I was overreacting. However, Luke had also noticed the tension in our family. The breaking point arrived when I stumbled upon Donna making a video, pressuring Elliot to call her Mom. This blatant overstep of boundaries left me beyond angry. I confronted her about it, and she nonchalantly explained that it was for her YouTube channel. Apparently, she wanted to start creating content featuring her and her son, like she did when she gave birth to him. It appeared that Donna believed she could switch her motherhood role on and off at her convenience, and I was dumbfounded. Concerned about the unsettling impact of her actions on the entire family, I decided to have a conversation with her again. During our chat, I expressed how her behavior had been affecting everyone, and explained that while Elliot knew a bit about his birth story, he considered me and Luke as his parents. I emphasized the importance of not forcing him into things he wasn't comfortable with. However, instead of understanding my perspective, Donna became defensive and asserted that Elliot was her child, giving her the right to do whatever she pleased as his mother. To my surprise, she accused me of being selfish and wicked, claiming that I already had James and couldn't even allow her to have a child. At that point, I had enough. I retrieved Elliot's adoption papers and presented them to Donna, making it unequivocally clear that he was legally my child and has always been since she left me with him 5 years ago. Then I asked her to get out of my house. She was speechless and kept begging me to forgive her, but I made sure she packed all her things and left. I made it clear that if she genuinely wanted to be a mother to Elliot, she needed to learn to stand on her own 2 feet first and be ready to be a mother at all times, not just when she felt like it. I refused to let her cause issues in the family I worked so hard to maintain, simply because I'm trying to be a good sister. Now it's been 3 days. Donna has been begging to return to the house, claiming she has nowhere to go. She admitted she wasn't thinking straight and promised not to attempt to be Elliot's mother. I don't know whether she's genuinely remorseful or attempting to gaslight me, but I'm torn between letting her back in as she still needs our help and prioritizing the well-being of my family. Update: Donna has been persistently calling and texting me for over a week, but I chose to ignore all the attempts to reach out. Today, Luke convinced me to pick up her call and assured me of his support for whatever decision I made. I finally answered and told Donna that she wasn't welcome back into my house. I warned her of potential legal actions if she didn't stop bothering me and my family. Donna went ahead to threaten me by saying she would go to the court and gain custody of Elliot if I didn't help her, but I just laughed, cut the call and blocked the number. I chose to maintain boundaries and prioritize the well-being of my family. You're doing the right thing, OP. Thank you for looking after Elliot and caring for him even when it was not convenient. You gave that boy what he needed when his mother abandoned him and more. Donna could have gone about this differently. You were even generous enough to let her come back into Elliot's life, but she ruined that chance. It will be fair if she never gets another one. Continue to raise your kids. I applaud you for prioritizing the well-being of your family over anything else. Story 2. We call my son Benji. His full name is Benjamin. My friend came over for a visit and my son, 18 months, was ignoring her. She went and crashed down in front of him and waved, and he just walked away from her. She started to call and just said, "I can't believe you, Benjamin." I said, "We call him Benji in the house, you know that." So he eventually warmed up to her and she was calling him Benji like she's supposed to, and they were having a blast playing when my son suddenly took all the cars. and ran behind the couch. She did that, gasping again, and said, "Benjamin, how could you?" My son thought it was funny and thought nothing of it, but I was really annoyed because I already asked her not to call him that. I flatly said, "Stop calling him that." She mumbled sorry, then suddenly said she had to go. I told her that we were okay, she didn't have to leave, but she said something came up. But I've known her so long, I knew she was lying, then she awkwardly left. My husband said I'm the a-hole, but I think I was just standing my ground. I don't like him being called Benjamin because it's a family name that my husband insisted on, that I'm not fond of. It was the name of a family member that he was close to that had a tragic death. It was to pay tribute and I was okay with it. I'm still not fond of it. You're the a-hole, OP. If you wanted him to be called Benji, you should have made that his real name, not the full name of Benjamin. Most people swap between the nickname and first full name, especially as your friend did, often to express disapproval for bad behavior. He's going to be called by both names throughout his life. He and you should get used to it since you did not make that clear in the beginning. Now for some comments. OP probably never heard of middle names. The first name is the name you like and the middle name is some traditional thing or something. If you don't want a child called that name but still want to keep the tradition, just do it that way. But now it's too late already. OP effed up and now has to just live with it. You're the a-hole for choosing a name you don't like and then complaining about it. I was named because my mom wanted me to go by the popular nickname, which I ended up hating. She still gets so frustrated that in college I went by my full name and that's how people refer to me as. You named your child Benjamin, that's his name. You can't get mad at people for calling him by his name because you couldn't stick to your guns and name him something else. You're the a-hole. What a stupid thing to be mad about. Why name your kid Benjamin and then forbid people from calling him that? Your reason still sucks. Like it or not, that is his name. And if you get triggered from hearing, that's something you need to work on yourself. Don't lash out at people for using the name he was given. You're gonna be hearing it for the rest of your life, so better you effing deal with it now. Story 3. My wife and I are splitting up. You can check my post history to see some of the problems we've had over the years. We are currently going through a mediator and trying to avoid court. We've mostly worked out a separation agreement, but the one thing we can't agree on is custody. I would like to be the primary custodial parent, but was willing to let my wife have primary, as long as we split custody time as fairly as practical. My offer was that she has him most of the year. I get him over summers and school breaks, and we alternate holidays. She had agreed to this at first, but then came back and said that instead of summers and school breaks, I could have 1 week a year. In talking about this with her, it seems like she only wants me to have every other weekend. And for any additional time I want to spend with my son, I would have to come to her. This was obviously a hard pass for me, and we've been in a stalemate about it for a while. It came to a head recently when she told me that we need to get custody sorted one way or another, and that if it comes to going to court, then she was willing to do that. She asked me to write out what I wanted in terms of custody, presumably to give a lawyer. I tried to talk to her about it, but she cut me off and said she wasn't interested in a discussion, and to just give her what she wanted. I thought about it for a day or two and then gave her exactly what she asked for, what I wanted in the custody arrangement. It was a paragraph or two stating that I felt it best that I was primary and that she was the non-custodial parent. In this, I offered her the same as what I was asking for, which included school breaks, summer and alternating holidays. She could also FaceTime whenever she wanted and visit anytime outside of her scheduled time within reason. She blew up at me and accused me of blindsiding her. I told her that I had tried to explain this to her when she asked me for my custody offer. I told her that this is what I wanted, and that my offer to agree to her being primary was contingent on us working it ourselves. There are also many practical reasons for me being primary as well. I have a flexible work-from-home schedule and can be available for our son anytime. She's moving to her mother's house a county away, and our son has always lived here. I've always been better at academic stuff than my wife. She agrees with this. and I want to be involved with the schooling. Therefore, I'm fine with my wife having all the fun time and me having the school time. My wife thinks that because she's been a stay-at-home mom by choice, that she should have all of the custody time, and seems to think that every other weekend is just what dad gets. From my perspective, it seems that I'm trying to be as fair as reasonable as I can, but my wife just wants to be in control of all of the custody time. Am I the a-hole? Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. She tried to blindside you and take your son from you. You offered a reasonable solution, but she insisted on going through lawyers. Fight for your son and get the custody that's in your and his best interest. If your ex had it her way, always remember you would have only seen him 1 week a year. That's not someone that cares about your son's well-being and relationship with his father. OP, I'm sorry that mediation hasn't worked. She asked for what you wanted. That's not blindsiding her. Clearly she wants you to pay for her to stay at home with your son, and that's why she suggested that ridiculous 1 week a year and alternate weekends. She is determined to maximize her child support so she won't have to work. Do work through your attorneys and the court. Good luck. Not the a-hole. You try to compromise and negotiate fair terms. Children need their father just as much as they need their mother. I think it is good that you have laid everything out there. If she sees that you are willing to push for more, then she may compromise. The biggest thing here is what is best for your son. Remind her that these changes are going to be hard enough for him, and seeing both parents a fair amount of time will help him endure these changes. The end goal here is to have a happy and emotionally healthy child. Best of luck.